The Glenlea Research Station, we have a fully functioning hog operation here. We have a dairy barn. Right now we have a feed trial for beef. We also have across the road some organic trials for organic farming. So we have a lot of research going on here that relates to housing, different types of feeding for animals. So that's through the Faculty of Agricultural and Food Sciences. So it's their research, or one of their research stations. We're open to the general public between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Tuesday to Saturday, so anyone can come in our open hours. But we also host a lot of school groups and daycare groups and even just family groups between those hours, and so they come and do a program. So with the program they get a tour of the center, they do some hands-on activities. So we have about 10 programs that we offer, and they can select which one they want, and then we have about a 4-hour program put together for them. We really want them to kind of appreciate where their food comes from and how much of an art and science farming is, and how hard it can be, and how hard farmers are working to get them the food they want, and that their food doesn't come from the grocery store, it comes from a farm, and it comes from people who are working hard. So we really want them to understand a little bit more where their food comes from and get a stronger connection, because we're finding a lot of people are a little bit more disconnected from farm life, so this way they have a place they can come and learn in a fun environment of where their food comes from. I graduated from the Faculty of Agriculture and Food Sciences in food science, so I graduated last April, and then I started here as a casual staff. Now I've kind of taken over. My family farmed. I never grew up on the farm, but I grew up near the farm, so I understood a little bit of that disconnect that people were having, having slight connection, but mostly not growing up on the farm, not working on the farm, so I can understand that disconnect, but use my knowledge from school and also my knowledge from working here to help people get a better understanding of agriculture. We have 4 windows for our hog barn. The first one is our breeding zone, so that's where the sows get impregnated to eventually give birth to piglets. So in that zone we have different features. We do a lot of research on housing, so in the background there's some chains or some apples, so we've researched which enrichment device is better suited for them and which they prefer, so we've seen they prefer the chains. The second window we have is called our gestation zone. So in the gestation zone, all the sows that are in there are pregnant, and they're all working through their pregnancy to eventually give birth. So they're pregnant for 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days. And in that gestation zone, they're in group housing, and they have an electronic feeder. So that electronic feeder, they go in one by one, it reads their ear tag and dispenses the right amount of food for their nutrition, or for their weight, body weight. And then eventually, about a week before they're due to give birth, they move to our farrowing zone. So in our farrowing zone, they're going to give birth, and they're going to stay in the farrowing crates for about 3 weeks. So 21 to 28 days after they give birth, the piglets will be in that farrowing zone. And so one row of our crates has a lift mechanism, so that when they're standing, they're up and away from the piglets, and then when they go to sit down, the whole mechanism lowers, and then when it's lowering, now the piglets have access to the teat to drink milk. At that 21 to 28 day mark, the piglets are going to get weaned, and then they go to the nursery zone, and that nursery zone are all weanling pigs, and so we're going to keep them until they're about 60 days old, and then they're going to go to a grow finish barn to get brought up to market weight. Farmers who come through and appreciate it, we have a lot of our donors who have connections, whether they used to farm or they went to the Faculty of Agricultural and Food Sciences. Most people who have donated here in some capacity have a strong farm connection, and we hear all the time that what we're doing is important, and it's great to have a facility like this to show people the truth behind agriculture, and so people can understand where their food comes from.